What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of it. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have Rekindling as a sponsor of today's video. Rekindling simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because TJ is sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
It's go time. What's going on with everybody? Welcome. It was just the crew. We got Miss Kelly, Lord Sherm, Angela, Biz the Poet, Ali, me, myself, and Lapeef JR. What's going on, family? How y'all doing? Amazing. Got a lot of energy, Sherm.
Yeah, man. Even though I ain't get no sleep last night, it's all good,
You ain't get no sleep? Why not? What happened?
Messing around with y'all show, I was on the Lapeef Network.
No accountability, Sherm. Already. You were looking to blame us for it, huh?
Late nights, early mornings.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Good times, though. Good times. It was good to see you guys, man. Welcome. Again, shout out to the sponsor, Rekindling, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 40% off along with a free gift. And if you click the link in the description, you get 20% off for life. And if you guys don't know, I'm here to tell you, you're looking to get that beard right. It's patchy. It's not growing. It's dry. Not connecting. A Sure Man King on top is the way to go. It's a 4-kit system. We do have 2-packs for the people that's already got something going on, but I recommend a 4-pack. If your lady is looking at you kind of weird, well, it's because you don't have the total package. And we understand. So that's why we're here to give you a little bit of relief with this Sure Man King on top. Let's bring back good beards, right? Make great beards great again. With that being said, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I don't like the way y'all looking at me, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm in a good space. Okay, yeah, but I don't know if it's phony smiles or if y'all really rocking with it. Now, y'all looking like y'all surprised.
Looking surprised?
Surprise is crazy.
Okay. Anyhow,
you can't see my eyes. Quit playing. No.
And no ass. Back pockets on the jeans touch. No, you got no ass when the back pockets on your jeans touch. Oh, y'all caught that late. Y'all not laughing at my jokes, man. I'm going to keep it moving, man. I wrote this out. Took all night to write this stuff out, man. I guess it's just not hitting. But anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get this show started. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to get to our first topic. Our first topic of the night is finding true love and letting it slip away. Finding true love and letting it slip away. Appreciate this topic, Kelly. Go ahead and dive into it. Let me start off by asking you guys, what is true love?
I mean, I think that's the part that I'm struggling with, is because to me, love is an action word, right? So true love, it's like what people define it as is incredibly subjective. Someone may sit there and say that it's actually true love when it's not. It's just love, lust, or infatuation, lust and infatuation. So you have to have a really centered individual to fully understand what true love is first before you can say that you've let it slip away.
Go ahead, Sherman. Are you sitting over there thinking, man? What is true love? What comes to mind? You ain't got to think too hard on it, man.
Nah, I mean, because like I'm thinking about it like, okay, you know, when you're with your woman, or love when it comes to your child, or love when it comes to your homie or your mama or your daddy. And I feel like all of those are different, you know what I'm saying? And they could be defined differently. But then it's like, I feel like it takes time for you to say, you know, this person loves me, you know what I mean? Or like, I have love for this person, because I feel like it's more so how that person makes you feel. And if you feel that that person has your back, you know what I'm saying? Or you could be, or that person is selfless when it comes to the way that they treat you. You know what I mean? Because it's like, if you define love, you know, it's kind of like a, you know, it just depends on the person. It's very subjective to me, you know, because somebody will say, "Oh, you know, bro, I love you," you know, but then the next day, "Hey, man, I'm stranded," you know, or can you help me move? Oh, no, fuck that. I ain't about to do all that though. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, you know, or it's like, because when we think about showing love, it's kind of like, okay, what is even showing love? You know, being there for somebody, checking up on them. Hey, like Ali said, you know, it's an action word, because there'll be some people that'll be, you know, crying at your funeral. You know what I'm saying, acting like they super hurt, and they won't help you with something. But then you meet somebody you know for a month, and they'll be there for you, hold you down, show up, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to
Yeah.
define that like in just a single, you know, trance. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, say if you outside and you know you fall down and you hurt, a stranger could come and assist you, be there for you, call the police, you know, take off their shirt, tie you up if they bleeding. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I say that that's care. If somebody, complete
Mhm.
stranger, I probably wouldn't say that that's love. I don't think they love you.
I mean, you showing love to another human being, bro,
Mm.
by doing that. You know, I feel like it's like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like love thyself, like, you know, love thy neighbor like you love thyself. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you could love humanity, you know, to an extent where like you're selfless and you help other people. Because if somebody could say they love, you know, a piece of cheesecake, or love a drink, or love a sandwich, you know what I mean? But it's hard for you to say, okay, I love my neighbor, or I love this, or I love that. You know what I mean? Because somebody would be like, oh, well, I hate this person, but I love this piece of candy. Or I love, you know, shit, a celebrity or something that they never met, that never did anything for them.
What about you,
But
Angela?
I agree when somebody said that people have different understandings of what love is, and I think we have to separate what people just say they love, you know, so freely, and what people actually do love. And what I thought about was, I think love is the willingness to participate in the well-being of the person. Like having a high regard for that person's well-being and being willing to participate in that. So
All right. Go ahead, Miss Kelly.
I feel like true love in regards to a relationship, because we are speaking of that today. I think it's when you care so much about a person, you love them so much, you are willing to never give up, no matter how flawed they are, the negative things that they may say when they're mad. You just have to accept that person for like who they are and never give up on them, because I feel like if you get to a point where you give up, then that means that it's really not true love.
Okay. What's going on, Viz? You're on mute, just so
Oh,
you know.
Many blessings to the panel. What's going on, y'all?
What up, man? We talking about, we just got through starting. We defining like what is true love to you.
Yeah, I was listening in. A while back, I began to really dig into love, the feeling, the emotion, the action, everything that everyone said. Um, and to piggyback off of Kelly, I think that there's so many different ways to look at love. Like one of the instances that you were describing was is something that they call twin flames, and twin flames is like this person that you essentially can't get away from, right? There's always something that happens, that occurs, that brings you two back together, and everything goes back to normal or as if it never happened. I want to say potentially Forrest Gump and Jenny would be a great example of what a twin flame is. Um, Now, I'm not sure if I think that a twin flame and true love is necessarily considered the same thing, though, because you can love someone from a distance. It can be that clash that may happen, but due to the conditions um, of the love, you can still love them and love them from a distance, and even possibly say that that's a true love, just because the love is still there. I think that true love is, I think true love is the attachment to the person. Um, and I don't know if man, it's just so many different ways to look at it. Um, hmm. I think that you can have multiple true loves, honestly. And I think that that can go across the board of being men and women as well. There's some of my homies that I grew up with that I love truly. And there are some female friends that I'm cool with and it's the same way. So I think that it's one of those deals of where it's potentially mutual, um, but it's more so the attachment to it. I don't know if I just rambled right there, but hopefully that makes sense.
So attachment.
I would say at the surface level for sure. I would even go to the extent of challenging everyone's thought that hate, love, and lust are all the same feelings, emotions, and actions.
What do you mean by that? Like, because I feel like what popped in my brain when you said that was like if like I've said this before in situations where it's like if you truly loved me, it wouldn't have been in you to say something so hateful. So it's like that to me has always been a red flag of someone who isn't truly in love with the other person is if they have it in them to say something hateful. Is that I'm kind of getting my wires crossed here, you know?
To an extent, yeah. In order to hate someone, you have to have the same amount of passion that you would have if you love someone. Um, Now the way that they use it, of course, but I think that it is possible to be in a relationship with someone that loves you so much that they hate you to the extent where they'll sabotage it, the relationship.
If I had to
You- you-
define, Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Even with lust, I think that lust is just the first stages of love. If you get past that first initial stage of the honeymoon stage, then that becomes love. But initially, anything that you're passionate about, if you abuse it to someone else perspective, then they can very much say that you lusted. You lust after this idea, you lust after this passion, this desire, this person. When it's arguable that that person could very much just be in love with it. It just depends on where they take it and what it is that they do with it from there.
I got you. If I had to define what true love is to me, true love is a deep connection that goes beyond attraction. It's love for someone for who they are and no matter what they do and without expecting anything in return. True love is sacrificial, it's self giving and merciful. That's how I define true love. I did have a follow up question. What are some common reasons people find true love but let it slip away? Is it fear, timing, or something else?
I think fear could be a factor. I think timing could be a factor. I think it could be many reasons why you let love slip away. Some things just get in the way.
Yeah, because you could have a true love, but that doesn't take away from the fact that that other person or yourself could have unresolved traumas that aren't ready to continue a relationship. So I think that's the big one. There's probably a lot of people who have their true love, but it's not going to work because they have all these other factors going on in their life that's creating that toxicity in the relationship that's not going to allow the true love to grow. So it's like it plateaus and then people let it go.
Anybody else on that one? Huh?
I think in that case, I think in that case that they were just they were meant to be there for that season. I'm a firm believer in people come the at the right times for the right reasons, in the right moment for us to be able to learn from and craft ourselves to become the better person. Um, I know, especially in this space, is looked down upon. But even the thought of a man preparing a woman for her husband, or a woman preparing that man for his wife, I think that is a thing. I think that some people are only meant to help you get to a certain point, and and then life happens, I suppose, or destiny, whatever the case may be. But I think that even in those cases, those people could still be your true love.
So you think people are making an excuse when they depart from relationships and they look back and say, "Oh, I don't think we're meant to be together. I think that we're just meant to just prepare each other for the next person."
I think that that's the harder pill to swallow. That's the harder way to look at it. Um, I believe that everything happens for a reason, and of course, we all make decisions. But in that moment, I think that you make the perfect decision to progress in life, and be that if it's good or bad, however it is that you look at it from your perspective. But I think at the end of the day, if you make the choice to not continue to do the work with that person, then you're making the choice to, move on, and see what else is next. So
Has anyone on the panel ever had a easy relationship with the opposite sex? Has it ever been easy? I know, Sharon, are you married, but has it ever been easy?
I mean, I would say like when it comes to me personally, it's only as easy as you like make it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like at the end of the day, you have to be careful about how you respond to how others act. You know, and when you're dealing with somebody every day, you know, every day it's not gonna be sunshine and roses. Like they might be going through something personally and attack you in a way, and you have to be emotionally intelligent enough to be like, you know what, man, I ain't even about to get into this. You know, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in their work. I don't know who said what or what issues that they're dealing with, but I'm just going to concede, you know what I'm saying? Kick back, you know what I mean? It is what it is, you know? But I feel like when I would say that it was hard, it's because I was responding in a way that made it hard. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like coming from a point of understanding, you know, or having like empathy for another person, you know, because it's like, me personally, I didn't grow up with like a lot of empathy in the household, so I didn't really know what it was like. It was more so like, you know what, nah, fuck that shit. Let's go up, let's get it. You know, I don't care if you sick, bleeding, whatever. You know what I mean? Let's get to it. But every human being isn't like that, and it took me a while to understand that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then women are different. You know, having daughters really helped me understand women. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I look at it like, you know, kid, like say I have a girl, boy, girl, boy. All of them are different, you know, but then there's similarities in both of the sexes. You know what I'm saying? And some people are just hardwired to be how they are. And I feel like the biggest mistake happens when men expect women to think, you know, how we think. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like, why is she acting like this? What's going on with this? I can't believe she is like, bro, you're not a woman. You're not gonna understand. You know what I'm saying? And you're not that person. You know what I mean? And I feel like we frustrate ourselves to a point where we make it hard, you know? And we have to be like, you know, stoic enough, calm enough to understand, like, you know what, man, this is just human nature. You know, my daughter just walked in right there. Daddy, who's that? What's going on? What are you, you know, who are you looking at? You know what I mean? That's just, you know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, why you all up in my business? Like, I just know that's how women are. They're caring. You know what I'm saying? They're loving. If I go anywhere, both my daughter, Daddy, where you going? Daddy, no, where you going? Where you going? And you know, I bullshit them.
I can't believe it, Jesus.
Right. But my sons are like, all right, bye. My daughter's like, well, hold on, where you going? What's up? But then I started to think about it. I'm like, man, you know, does that go away when women get older? You know what I'm saying? That nurturing, possessive, you know what I'm saying, aspect of them? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like I could FaceTime my oldest daughter right now. What you doing? Where you going? What's this? What's that? So it's like we have to have a level of understanding when it comes to the people that we deal with. And I feel like that's where we like fail 1,000% of the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to leave with. Cause you know, I had a lot of mistakes, a lot of things I had to learn from the relationships that I was in. And sometimes I reflect and I'm like, you know, I probably could have stuck with that. You know what I'm saying? If I would have, you know, did this or did that, maybe I could have did something different. You know, maybe when she was acting like that, I could have been like, you know what, baby, what's going on? You know, do you want to talk about it? Instead of being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you fucking crazy? Damn. You know what I'm saying? But I could have been like, baby, sit down. Let me rub your feet. Let's talk about this. What's going on? You know, do you want you want an ice pack or something?
What?
You know what I'm saying? But it just, you know, it just comes with a level of maturing. And I feel like once we, you know, as sexes figure that out, it'll be a lot better. Because when people are, you know, people be trying to relate to me, you know, with certain stuff, I'll be like, bro, I don't go through that. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I'm going through this. I'm like, bro, that ain't my story. Don't try to put that shit on me. You know, all men aren't going through this. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be, you know, I draw a fine line when it comes to stuff. Because men like to think that we all are going through the same thing. No, we're not.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. You got to shut him up a little bit, bro.
Okay, my bad. I get real passionate about that, man.
I know. Like 120 seconds, 120 seconds, and then we get off. around.
Okay.
Hey, but Sherm, I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier of where whoever it was that you was with at that moment, they made you the man that you are now to be able to reflect and look at that and apply it in real time, with your spouse that you with now, your wife.
I agree.
All right, let me get Angela in there. The question I did ask is this supposed to be easy? Have you ever had an easy relationship, or did all of it take work? All of them.
No, I don't think that. No, I don't. I've had easier relationships with people. I think that when you start getting in depth with the person, it becomes a little bit more challenging, for different reasons. But I wanted to agree with somebody. They said that some different people are required, or are in your life for a season, and you're supposed to learn from that and build upon that. And it made me think about, like, at different points in my life, depending on what my emotional intelligence was, or where my head or my heart was, it was a different type of love that I experienced. So the more mature I've gotten, the more work I put into myself and things like that, I I I desire a healthier relationship, and a more peaceful love versus, you know, um, just being attached to somebody and it not being conducive to whatever my purpose or my growth is. And that's what I think that what the ultimate love is. And like what someone said earlier, there is different levels to, or different understandings of the connection or what people call love. But no, I've never really had a easy relationship long term. It's always ebbs and flows.
I agree with you, and I didn't get around to everybody, but I think most people will probably agree that relationship is work. It's going to be some work at some point in time. So then, why are we trying to find people that are evenly yoked if we know that relationships are gonna take some work eventually?
I don't think that evenly yoked means easy.
I feel like evenly yoked means that you balance each other out. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that's what it means, but that's what I get from it.
The only time I usually hear it is when people are in conflict or they are on the fence about the relationship. Maybe we just not evenly yoked. Like you never hear that on the front end. It's usually when conflict arises or how you got a chihuahua? Oh, okay. Simmer down.
It's
But
it's
yeah,
funny you said evenly yoked because that's what was said on the commentary for the Obamas at the DNC last night here.
mm,
Is that I've seen a lot of people saying that the Obamas showed up evenly yoked.
mm.
I thought that was a good definition of that display. If you guys watched it,
I mean, but that's different though. Everything you saw last night was planned. So that's
You're just gonna steal our thunder.
no,
Um,
I'm with you, but that's I think that, and for me personally, the relationship that I'm in now, um, is an absolutely beautiful relationship, but it has challenged me enough to stretch me, and to the extent of where it has, I've grown in it more. Uh, so I think that those challenges and the willingness to challenge yourself to become better, because without struggle there is no growth. So if the relationship is always easy, then not to say that that's a bad thing, but that makes it that could sometimes make it easier for people to potentially walk away, and then of course vice versa. But I think that it's important that we that we do challenge ourselves in relationships, because we're constantly evolving. So if there's no challenge, then are we truly learning each other? Because as we continue to grow and live, we're changing ourselves, we're growing ourselves. And I think a lot of relationships fall apart because one person evolves and the other person remains, and they don't choose to learn the person during their evolution.
Okay. How do unresolved past traumas or emotional baggage contribute to losing true love?
Can I touch on the other question
Yes, you can.
before we get into that?
Sure can. I'll come back to
What
it.
I was gonna say is that I've had somewhat easy relationships in the past when I was younger. And I feel like it was easy because when you're younger, you don't have as many responsibilities, obligations, and so forth. When you get older, you mature, you go through a lot of different things. And sometimes when you meet a person, you just don't know the previous, experience that they had. And sometimes those people can bring those previous experiences to the table. So it can be difficult because now you're dealing with something that they dealt with in the past. So I will say that the easier relationships have been because the communication was better. A lot of people don't know how to articulate their feelings. So it makes things very difficult. And some people do want to give up. But as we know, nothing that's easy. Like, people don't want anything that's necessarily easy. When it's too easy, you tend to let things go and go chase something else. So easy is good from time to time, but if you really want to get to know a person, I feel like the communication has to be strong. And you, like he said, you have to have the willingness to continue to learn somebody. Because it's easy to just walk away. A lot of things are easy, but I don't think everybody enjoys easy.
I think
Maybe when they're old and tired, but I
yeah.
don't think anybody here is old and tired yet.
I think the older people get, man, they get particular about what they want, what they expect. They may be misled about themselves because they've gone through things, and so now they have these walls up, and they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to be an open book to someone because based off of their traumatic experiences or failed relationships. So then this goes for men and women. Like, they're guarded and they express them in different ways. Like, some men may express it by not settling it down and dealing with multiple women. And then when it comes to women, you don't really even see who that person is. You got to go the extra mile, or you have to do a whole lot just to unlock who that original person was before the damage. And you also got to factor in that I think when you date as an older person, you do have a lot of representatives. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think you have to kind of consider that. So if you're looking for somebody and you're dating them in the beginning, don't think that it's going to always be like that. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. But is it realistic? Probably not. When people get comfortable, they get more relaxed. They start to take a little bit more risk when it comes to communication, when it comes to them expressing themselves, when it comes to them voicing what they do like and they don't like. It should happen on the beginning, but does it always unfold like that? No. You usually have to have gone through something or felt something in order for you to be able to express that. Because when you're comfortable, a lot of things are off the table at that point. I'm going to tell you how I feel because I know you're going to be around. I know you're just not going to just leave. Wait, I invested so much time in you. I'll be damned if I don't get this right. That's another question. How do you recognize when you've found true love, and what steps can you take to ensure you don't lose it?
Maybe when she washes my underwear. Let's see. Hmm, like bakes me a birthday cake. You know what I'm saying? Cleans my nails. Get the crust off of the bottom of my feet. Um, stuff.
OMG.
When she services you.
So,
Oh, okay.
Right.
So acts of service is the love
Basically,
language that you prefer to receive. We hear you.
so basically, it's like this: if that person will be able to do something for you that's selfless, that actually like helps you, you know what I'm saying? That's when I feel like that's true love. That's that person showing that they care about you, about your well being. So it's like say, um, with what's that guy's name that directed Black Panther? Ryan Coogler. So Ryan Coogler's girlfriend seen that he wanted to become a script writer. She believed in him, all of this different stuff, and then she bought him I think the software to help him screenwrite. You know what I'm saying? So it's like things like that you see someone do, or like the things that they do for you, that where you're just like, damn, this person really is considerate, they care about me, they want me to be in a better space. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that. And I often tell men, because there's a battle between like women working and taking care of the house, and the men working but then they're not taking care of the house as much as women. And I tell men straight up, it's like, if she gotta work, you gotta clean up and do some of the stuff too, and cook as well. You know what I'm saying? Because there needs to be some type of balance. You have to take that other person into consideration. You know what I'm saying? And that lets them know that you love them and you care about them. So if
Okay.
anybody loves you enough, or anyone enough to like help them succeed, which is the whole reason why we would get with anyone anyways, I would hope so. I hope it's not just lust. It's like, okay, we're going to get together and survive in life with each other, because we have these skills and these talents to bring out the best out of each other, and we have each other's best interests.
All right. Short and sweet. I like that, Sherm.
I
If
could
I
go
had
home if you need me to.
to, if I had to say, man, I would think one of the things when you realize someone is true love is when somebody listens, man. I think we a lot of people don't like to listen, and so when you're speaking and you're voicing things that you may like, things you may like to enjoy, things you need, and you see, it don't have to be nothing major like a big purchase, but when they come through, like putting something in the mail and you receive it, like, damn, like you was listening to me.
Mhm.
Or maybe like date night, they say you guys have a plan. You say, you know what, I'm taking you out. Where we going? Don't worry about it. And you pull up to the place that you always been wanting to go to. So it's like the small things that a person is being considering, because now they're actually vested in you and not just for the outer surface, so to speak.
Yeah.
Hmm. What about you, Angela? You sitting over there all quiet. Oh, you got to
Well,
put a poll in.
I would say patience, thoughtfulness.
Very insecure. That's because it's true, baby. We're cool. Like right when if I'm doing the same thing, I would not want nobody disrespecting me, because you even said it before. I might say
playing
whoopty
that?
woo, but it's just
Right. Like I
got called a thug, all types of
about
shit.
30
And
times.
she handling it. She handling it.
Right.
She handling it. But when people start to
Oh, that was me. I'm looking like, who playing that? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was saying I would go with when someone's thoughtful, kind, and patient. I think patient is important when you're dealing with another individual. That shows endurance. That you really care enough to be patient with someone, because we're not all alike. Yes, we're all human. We have feelings and emotions, but we all come from different places in life. So I think patience is kind of one of the more important acts of love.
I like that. Yeah, patience is another one of those things that people don't have. Yeah. Go ahead, Miss Angela.
I would say a high level of compassion and a person's willingness to put your needs before their own.
All right. Do you believe true love can happen more than once in a lifetime, or is it a one-time opportunity?
I think it could happen more than once.
You think or you know?
I think it can happen more than once.
Yeah.
I think I've probably only been in love maybe one true time in life in the past. So
Yeah. What they say?
I'm sure I can be in love again.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying.
What about you, Allie?
Is it possible to be in love more than I think it's possible. For me, I feel like I've been in love because I think, okay, kind of sliding back.
True love now.
True love.
True love.
Because I feel like all my relationships, for the most part, have been easy as far as the connection and the emotions and the feelings. It was always outside parameters that affected the relationship. Because I do believe it should be that 80-20, 80% easy, 20% work. Do I believe, yeah, I think it's possible to have it more than once.
Okay. Viz, coming to you. Should she believe you if you say that I found my true love? Should she believe you?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that you can find true love more than once. Yeah, I think that that's very much possible. I know that is actually.
Okay. Is it possible to Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I do have a question for Kelly though. The gentleman that you felt was your one true love. What was so different with him compared to the others?
Oh, well, this was like my first love, puppy love when you're young and innocent. So that was the difference. I was young and inexperienced. But to me, I feel like the feelings were very strong and we were highly connected. It was more than just, okay, we see each other, we give kisses to each other, whatever. It was deeper than that as we got older. The bond was stronger.
It was passionate.
We could use that word.
And so with how long were you with him?
About 3-4 years.
And you've never, and since then you haven't experienced anything similar?
Maybe something similar, but not quite the same. I think as I've matured, the love is different. Like I said, when you're older, you have more responsibilities. Things are completely different than when you were at home living with your mom and you didn't have to pay bills and all you did was have fun. Now life is serious. So yes, I've definitely over the years, throughout dating people, I've found connection. I found likeness. I don't want to use the term love necessarily. I feel like I will definitely, I don't know, like I've definitely felt some strong feelings for people in the past.
Was it just not as mutual?
Timing.
So
I couldn't necessarily give it my all. Yeah, I couldn't. It wasn't a priority.
Right. And so I was asking these questions because one of the things that I found in my studies is that we tend to overcomplicate love. especially as we age and get older, because now just how JR pointed out, we're carrying on the traumas from the last love story to the next one. So we put up that wall, it goes up inch by inch. We take back more of that vulnerability, the willingness to invest into it. And then of course, how I will word it is simply sabotaging that relationship. So I 100% understand what you're saying, but just with the studies I've done and looking at what we see often in society now, is that we want that love that we felt when we didn't have um, the things that we have to tend for, the more important things in life, in which I think really takes away from truly being able to connect with someone that we may be interested in, and essentially sabotaging it.
Yeah. Last question. This particular topic. Is it possible to rekindle a relationship after letting true love slip away? Was it usually a lost cause?
I think it's possible. But is the desire there with both parties? Not always.
Yeah, you got to be willing to. You have to truly be willing to. Um, just like I said with the story of Forrest Gump and Jenny, um, that man was deeply in love with her, and we can only assume that she loved him too. And after all of the years of her hoeing and doing whatever she was doing, he still was there to wife her, to love her regardless. And yeah, we can make fun of Forrest, but to Forrest, he's experienced the deepest level of love. So we can't necessarily use that as something bad against them, because some people will go their entire life without feeling that.
Well, Al, you came off mute.
I mean, to be frank, what popped in my mind again was this sounds so wild, but I feel that if I wanted to go back to my ex, I could, because I could try to rekindle it, because it's like I'm the one that did the breaking up, right? So, but the desire, to what Kelly said, is just not there. And for me, it was that 20% of those other parameters that would stop it. So is it possible? Yeah.
So would that would investing another 10% into that, would that be worth it, to experience that connection or passion or uh, bond that the two of you guys had?
No, there's just too much going on for him. But it is kind of sad, right? Because I know that there is a lot of love there, but to me, it's just not worth it. There's just too much. There's too much. If I like, but you know what I mean? Would I be living in that love? Yeah, but would it be messy and all that other stuff? And it'd be too much. Like I know myself as an individual that I would just have too much anxiety over it. That having that amount of anxiety wouldn't work for me.
Let me just ask a question to the lady. So, if we're talking about rekindling a relationship, would you guys say that it would be easier if the band broke it off to rekindle versus you guys breaking it off and rekindling?
I don't think it would be easier if the man broke it off. I think it would be easier if the woman broke it off, because she put it into it, because she wanted to move on. So if she wanted to reignite that, the ball is kind of in her court. If he didn't agree with the breakup, if there was still something inside of him that wanted to stay, then
Got you. Go ahead, Angela. You came off the mic.
I think that if both parties are or have worked on whatever it was that worked to the demise of the relationship, and there's a mutual attraction, I definitely think that it's a space to to rekindle things and to grow things. But like somebody said earlier, it definitely depends on a person's willingness to put that work in.
I think there's so many factors to really consider when it comes to like rekindling. I don't really see people really plan it. It's just something that happens. It may not be necessary right away, but it may cross paths or come across somebody's social. Maybe y'all unfollow each other and then it just pops up out of nowhere. Or you at an event and you see somebody, oh, guess what I ran into? And then maybe the rekindle might happen there. But it all depends. There's so many different variables. Like, how did you guys break up? What was the reason? Because some people just can't get over or forgive whatever the situation it was. It could just be damaging. Like, I just have no respect for that man or I have no respect for that woman during the time of the exit. So there's just a lot of different variables when it comes to the whole rekindle. Is it possible? Anything's possible. Is it likely? It varies depending on how you guys separated.
Look at Ashanti and Nelly. They're back together and they were apart for a long time. And it's wild because I actually have a friend. He did like just a friend. I was like, how have you been? And he's like, oh, I'm back with my ex. And I was like, oh, really? And I'm like, what was the story behind that? It was similar to Kelly's, where he had dated this girl in like high school. They were together for some years. They separated for like 15 years. And like now they're like full blown in love, back together, getting a house, having a baby. And I'm like so like happy for them. Like, like, wow, like you can just, they're oozing this love. And he explained it to me so well. He was like, I know her. Like we grew up together. Like there's just such a deep level of understanding. Like this is my person. I don't know why, but everything happened for a reason and they found each other again. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for the wedding. Like it's a beautiful thing to like witness when you see something like that happen in real life in your social circle. So it's like that, I think, is a perfect example of, can it be rekindled? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Kelly, that's your omen to go ahead and send that, hey, big head text.
Oh, no, I'm not interested in moving backwards. That's when I was a baby. I'm grown now. I'm big Kelly now.
They say you have 3 loves, right? You have your puppy love, your love learned, and then your one true love. So.
Yeah, no, that's old news. We've moved up and onward since then.
Yeah, I did work with a couple because I film weddings, and I worked with a couple that dated throughout high school. A little bit after that, broke up, was split for like 10, 12 years, got back together, and then of course they got married. And I would say that wedding definitely was a beautiful experience, simply because sometimes men would try to hold in the vulnerability of being in that moment. And before we did the first touches, where the bride will come out behind them and just kind of like touch his hand, and they have a moment where they don't see each other, they just hear and feel each other. And before she came out, he was like, man, bro, we made a bet, that I ain't gonna cry. I'm gonna try and keep it G, hold it in, woo, woo, woo. I'm like, no, fuck that, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is your moment. This is the moment. If that's what you feel, be in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because this the first and hopefully the last time that you're going to experience this. So take it all in. You know what I'm saying? Be vulnerable. And as soon as he heard his wife coming out, that boy started crying. And then of course, for us as a videographer, photographer, those are those beautiful moments that we want because it's raw emotions. You know what I'm saying? There's no filter to it. So I know that it can absolutely happen, but both parties just simply have to put the work in.
All right. I think we segue right into the next topic, man, which is a lot of men would rather be miserable than vulnerable. So I'm going to play this clip and we'll go ahead and get the reaction.
I think, unfortunately, man, a lot of men will rather be miserable than vulnerable. And
rewind. Rewind. Let me sit over here. I don't want to sit by him.
A lot of men will rather be miserable than vulnerable. And what I mean by that is a lot of us suffer from the I'm cool syndrome. I'm good syndrome. When in reality, we know exactly what it is that we want from you, and we be hoping that you figuring it out one day instead of us just sitting you down and saying, look, baby, I need this from you. And a lot of women, especially a woman that's in a relationship, a woman that loves you, if you're able to have that kind of open communication, say, baby, I need, again, not want, not would like, not possibly, I need this from you. She gonna make it her mission to meet you there.
All right, shout out to my boy Trail, man. But I'm going to pose this question to the panel. Why do you think men choose to endure misery rather than open up and show vulnerability? You trying to come off the mic, Angela, to answer that?
I kind of wanted the guys to talk first.
Okay. It makes sense. I just seen you move forward, so I thought you was ready to charge in with this topic. Go ahead, Sharon. We ain't heard from you in a while. Why do you think many men choose to endure misery rather than open up and show vulnerability?
I mean, I know a lot of them probably wouldn't see it like this, but I honestly think it's because of fear. You know, you fear getting your feelings hurt. You fear, feeling like a punk or a bitch or whatever. But I've learned, and I said this, I think, on your past show, that it's like the toughest guys are able to be vulnerable, because it's like if you really a man, you will stand on how you feel no matter where you at, and I feel like the men who will rather be miserable are more so what people will say weak men. You know what I mean? Because I've had some gangsters that'll tell it like it, man, my feelings was hurt, good, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like some thugs, and it kind of switched my perspective where I was like, at the end of the day, I know that if I was to clown this person for feeling how they feel, there will probably be consequences for that. You know what I mean? Because that man is a stand-up guy. You know what I mean? But the man that's like, when I really, look deep within certain men that like have this sense of pride and ego, I know it's fear and I know it's really weakness, but it's disguised as them being tough, as them being like, macho or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I called my homeboy today, like, hey, bro, you throwing a party. I haven't heard from you. I didn't want to take it personal, but what's the deal? And I could have just been sitting there, in my feelings like, man, F him, man. He didn't invite me. He didn't hit me up. But when I talked to him, he was like, oh, bro, the last party we had, this went down. And, I don't know about it this time because people got drunk and unruly. And I got the wife here and the kids. Then it brought me to a level of understanding where it's like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? But I could have just been in my feelings and just been miserable and just said, F him, man, he ain't messing with me, and made up some scenario in my mind. But I was vulnerable enough to call and tell him how I honestly felt. You know what I'm saying? So this happened today. You know what I'm saying? So I actually like practice this, and it's better for me and my mental health instead of sitting back and assuming. It takes more strength to get on the phone and call and check somebody than being miserable about it. You know what I'm saying? On the other end. You know what I mean? So it's like the way they look at it, I feel like it's just so misconstrued and fucked up, where it's like, nah, bro, the strength really is in letting people know how you feel. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just leave it at that.
I'm gonna read the definition of vulnerability: the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either emotionally. It must be cut off somewhere. It doesn't sound right on the back end, but oh yeah, harmed either physically or emotionally. Liability of partnership to higher penalties, either by convention or through having won one game toward a rubber. So I was raised by my grandfather. For the most part, he was the man that was the man figure in my life. He didn't teach me about women, but he taught me how to be a man. And one of the things that he taught me is, because it was just me and him at the time, my sister, my grandmother, my mother, and my aunt. And he didn't want the women to worry. So whenever we had a situation that was arise, we would see if we can handle it first. And if it was an emergency, then we let them know. But we go ahead and fix what we got to do because we don't want them to worry. So I was raised to really problem solve and try to figure things out on my own. I've never had too many situations where I had to be vulnerable when it came to that. So with vulnerability, I think there's levels to it. I think that if something is really troubling you and bothering you, then if you trust your wife or that woman, particularly if she's a wife, that you would be able to express certain things to her. But I'm not just about to be around crying and whining about everything. If I got a situation, I'm gonna figure it out. And typically, the women that I've dated or been with, they know that I'm gonna figure it out. I can count on my hands. I got 10 fingers on how many times that I wasn't able to figure something out. I'm gonna make a way. I'm gonna figure it out. And if I don't figure it out, then I do feel defeated. So uh, the most recent experience I had was my grandmother passing probably about 3 years. And I didn't shed a tear. I had my moments, but it wasn't in the moment. I was had to be strong for my grandfather and be strong for everyone else. I think somebody I spoke with, they said, "Hey, I don't think you really grieve yet." And I said, "You don't think so?" I said, "It's a possibility. I have my moments, but I just got a tougher outer shell, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I do think some men cry a little bit more than others, but I'm a strong vessel. Um, but I just can't see myself folding to life because life is going to be up and down. There's going to be some unexpected experiences, but I just rather toughen it out. I have no problem expressing my feelings. So if I love somebody or if I care for them, then that's something that I will express to them. And it is what it is. I'm not going to have any remorse. And if it don't work out, it just don't work out. And if I could put forth some effort, then I will. But I just think it's just different levels on how I express myself, and I just have to. I just it's just not in me to be boohoo crying. And I have seen cases where men have expressed something and it has been weaponized against them, or there's been a loss of respect. Unfortunately, does it happen all the time? No. Is it a possibility? Yeah, but that bond probably wasn't connected in such a way where it couldn't be broken. And that may have something to do with the lack of abilities for you to be able to vet properly. Who knows? But for some reason, she lost respect for you because you was crying and she wasn't used to it. She ain't never seen a man express themselves that way. So I'm kind of a little bit on the fence when women be like, "Open up to me. It's okay. It's okay." Death is another thing because who am I to tell somebody how to express themselves when it comes to death? Because we all grieve differently. But I'm just not gonna be boohoo and crying. I'm gonna toughen it. I'm gonna figure out a way, especially when it comes to having to push through for my family or the people that's I'm responsible for, or even the people just leading by example. Sometimes some people ain't meant to be tough. Everybody ain't meant to be leaders. Everybody ain't meant to tough it out. So that's how we balance. If everybody was alike on this earth, then shit, it'd probably be a boring place. So I'm okay. I don't talk about people that break down. I just be like, you all right, bro? If it's a woman, you all right? But it's just not me.
Yeah, I think that comes in different periods of life. As far as with death, there was a period right out of high school for me where like I was literally going to funerals funeral after funeral after funeral. Like for 3-4 years, I easily could have went to like 20 funerals each year. And these are people that I rocked with, saw daily type of deal. And after a while, I began to feel myself harden towards the thought of it. Even to the extent of where it was like, man, it's part of life. It's what happens. And uh, another close friend had passed, and in that moment when I left from the funeral, I realized, like, damn, I didn't even shed a tear. And once I realized that, that's when I began to weep, because it was one of those moments where I realized how hardened I was becoming due to my circumstances, that I wasn't embracing who it is or what it was that I was feeling. And uh that has been something that I've experienced and learned constantly, even to the extent of where I began to really study storytelling and film and screenwriting. And I remember I went to see a movie. I don't remember what movie it was, but the entire movie led up to this one point where it was like, okay, we want for the audience to cry, and I felt it, and I was like, man, I'm not finna cry. And I looked around. I was the only motherfucker in there. And it was like, no, man, this was meant for me to feel this emotion in this moment, regardless of how tough I am, how stoic I am. I'm still a human being, which is an emotional being. So in this moment, I feel safe enough in myself to go ahead and let that thug tear drop. And and from there I began to look and approach instances like that much differently. But I do agree with what Sherm was saying, because realistically, for black men, especially if you ran the streets, being vulnerable could get you unalived, regardless if it's a man or a woman. So that's something that's been imprinted into us subconsciously, to where we always have up that wall. And then, of course, all it takes is for one female to throw some shit in your face, and it's like, man, fuck that, you know. So I would say what I've learned in age is that it's important to be vulnerable in certain moments. And then, of course, you don't want to show vulnerability to everyone. But at the same time, it looks different for different scenarios and situations. So there's been instances where I've bumped heads with some of the guys, and we're past the age to where it's all right, nigga, put on the gloves. You know what I'm saying? Let's step outside, throw on the gloves. We got past that age. So now it's to the age of, man, bro, what's going on, man? You know what I'm saying? Let's sit down and have a real man to man, to where I feel comfortable enough being vulnerable with calling out whatever it is that I'm feeling and saying, hey, let's do this. Um, Damn, it was a quote I just heard from someone. Vulnerability is me going first and you going second. And that spoke to me so deeply, because that's truly what vulnerability is. So I think that there's, of course, a time and a place, especially for men, to show that. But I think that it's imperative to understand when to apply it and when not to. Even in some cases, you could say that vulnerability is a man walking away from a situation that he know can escalate. That's being vulnerable enough to let motherfuckers say, oh man, that nigga a bitch, man. Woo, woo, woo. Whatever. Hey, so be it. But I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? That's a case of being vulnerable. So I think that it's imperative, as men, that we um, that we bring the awareness to it, to where it's okay, but only display it when, but know when to display it and how to display it.
Hey, Vince, I would like to comment on that because you made a very powerful point that I personally learned from, because, you know, me, I thought that I could just express myself on social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, whatever I'm feeling, fuck it, I'm gonna write it on Facebook or write it on my Instagram story. But then I thought about it. I'm like, you cannot let everybody know how you thinking, you know, what you thinking about. You know what I'm saying? So, but then I'm seeing everybody else doing it. So I'm like, okay, this is a safe space. But then when I really thought about it, I'm like, man, you have no idea who's looking, who's watching, who's judging. You know what I'm saying? So you have to cut all of this shit out and only post, you know, things about yourself that makes you, you know, look like this, what you're doing, you know, business, things of that nature. And if you want to, you know, connect with somebody, call them on the phone or send a damn text message, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or create a group chat where you could be vulnerable with your homies. And trust me, I have a group chat where I'm vulnerable with my boys, you know, cousins or whatever. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I could post this on social media. You know what I'm saying? For everybody to see. You know, so I feel like
Not
it's
meant
real
for it.
powerful for us to create spaces where we can be vulnerable with a group of guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you know, you my boy, I could talk to you, or you're not gonna judge me for saying this. You're gonna be like, aha, man, you've been crazy since you was 15. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like we can't act that way in certain spaces because some people don't know who we really are and our, you know, real intentions of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we go to the women. Why do you think many men choose to endure misery rather than open up and show vulnerability?
Well, I think the commonality I keep hearing and that I agree with is that I think a lot of men have to reach that threshold of giving themselves permission, um, and reaching that point. Because JR, to your story and what you were saying, it's even though you like to, I get it, being the leader in the relationship, driving and this and that, wanting to thug it out on your own. It's almost as if a lady in her role would have to say to you, okay, whatever you're going through, you don't have to bear the brunt of the world on your shoulders on your own. I'm here to allow that vulnerability to come through. So it's like giving a man that permission to be vulnerable, I think is really key. But if the man isn't willing to get to that permission question, no matter what situation it may be, whether it be with your boys or with your lady or with whoever, then it's like I do see a lot of men that won't even get to that point, that won't even give themselves that permission to be vulnerable. And if they can't do that, then it's not going to go anywhere in their life.
Okay. As women, how do you perceive men who struggle with showing vulnerability in relationships? Kelly, Angela?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to go back to the original
You
question.
can go back. You go back.
I think men would rather be miserable than to be vulnerable because it might be hard for them to articulate their feelings. But I also feel like when you can't be vulnerable, it's because you're guarding yourself, and you're guarding yourself because you don't want to be hurt. And this person that you're dealing with may have been previously hurt by an ex. There may be some grief that they're dealing with, or whatever the case may be. And so, with that being said, you just put your guards up. You rather not deal with it at all because you're so hurt that you don't want to be hurt again. So, I think that's the reason why. But on another note, the person that they're with, they have to create a safe space for that person to open up. And a lot of times, that person may not create that safe space. They may not say the things that that person needs to hear. They may not be doing the things that that person needs to make them feel safe. So it kind of takes two in a situation to make someone feel vulnerable, for them to open up and share their feelings. It's not always easy for men to express their feelings. I think we know that. I think it's easier for women to say how they feel, and express it in a way that a man will understand. But men don't always, they're not always great with relaying their feelings, in my experience. Everybody else.
Yeah. And I think you made a good point. Speaking just for me in particular, I've never been hurt to where I can't be vulnerable. I just think I just associated with a man being masculine. So it's not coming from a place of hurt, but I just feel that the weight should be on my shoulders, that I should bear the burden of making sure I could try to fix as many things as possible or solve everything if I can. I'm not Superman, but I'm gonna try to be Superman. I'm gonna try to make sure I handle it. So it just, when it comes to me in particular, I don't think it comes from me not being able to be vulnerable, because it's like I'm trying to correct. I'm trying to make sure we're good. I'm always trying to make sure she's good because I can handle it. And that's just the way that I've always been since I was younger. It just never came from a place of somebody weaponize it against me. Like, I think I've always been just that manly figure. And it's probably because of my grandfather. When I was young.
That's what I was gonna say, based on your upbringing. That's how.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at, and a lot of people in Texas, they don't have basements. Well, at least legally have basements, because in Florida and Texas, if you got money, you can build basements. The contract is how you sign off for it. But I was in the basement, didn't even know what a sub pump was. I was in a crawl space. He had me there, probably 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He had me by that furnace. When this happened, this is what you got to do. We got a situation. We got to try to figure this out. Did I want to be there? Nope. But he had me on the roof. You know, we got some squirrels coming in. That's what we got to do. So I would just whenever a situation come, I just anticipate it. I get a thrill off solving it. It just feels good. I just feel like, man, I did that shit. I had to carry some dead possums up off the roof and the house that I had. You know what? Did I ever envision that? Like, hell no. I had to climb up on the ladder and do what I got to do. I was telling my son, he was probably about 15. I'm like, we have to figure this out. Like, we can't leave this. I'd be damned if I had one of them heavy ass things just drop down and then run around the house. So we have to go and get these. Put a cage up there. One of them died and had maggots. I came back to the crib from work and it had maggots up there. I still had to get it off the roof. Other ones was alive and they hissing and everything. I had to carry this heavy cage around, put it in the back of my truck, and then go to the fields, go release it.
You really most definitely sounds like a job for a man, and I'm happy to leave it there.
Like you have no choice but to make sure that this happens. Like, we can't turn our head and just ignore this. This thing, you hear this thing running around. I can only imagine not being in the house and there's some chaos breaks out and I can't do nothing about it.
See, Lapeef, I thought you was gonna say you gutted them, skinned them, and barbecued them or something. You know what I'm saying? That's what a real man would do. You know.
Well, I guess I ain't a real man in that aspect when it comes to skimming that possum. I eat that.
A real man ain't good.
That's definitely some manly man shit right there. Skin it, make a hat of that motherfucker and everything.
Yeah. So I ain't signed up for it, but I knew I had to be done. I'm just thinking about if I just ignored it, like what I would have been look like covered the house and shit. You can do this about that. Like, nah, put that thing up there. Last thing I want to see if that thing dead. I ain't never seen a bunch of men. I'm like, God damn. I wound up taking the cage down, dropping it in the garbage bag, held the garbage bag outside the truck, and I just went and just dumped it because I wasn't gonna put it in the back with them damn maggots. But I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, we gotta go and attack these things fearlessly, because that's just how, in my opinion, that's what men do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most impactful part is the fact that your son was able to see you do it and you released it. You know, you could have easily killed it, but the fact that you released it, that also says something else, you know what I'm saying, for everyone that was able to experience it with you.
Yeah. I really got no time. I think I asked the question. I'm not sure if somebody else answered it, but As women, how do you perceive men who struggle with showing vulnerability in relationships?
Who's going to speak on that?
I saw Angela go hit it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She keeps trying to fool us, and then she don't wind up pressing the button. As women, how do you perceive men who struggle with showing vulnerability in relationships?
Okay, so it was from my experience. Presently, it just shows a lack of either confidence in our relationship or trust. I would say, whether that trust is coming from something I may have done or it's something that they're holding on to. That's what I feel like. In order to have a deep connection with someone, you have to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is looked at many times as a weakness, and but vulnerability is actually a strength because it takes a level of self-acceptance, I think, to be vulnerable with the person. And we also have to learn how to be strategic with understanding who to be vulnerable with. So yeah, that's my take on that.
All right. What about the other couple ladies that's on the panel?
I think for me, if the way that I judge men who have a hard time being vulnerable is I think the first part of that would be the stipulation on how I'm playing my role, because I feel that if I'm laying in my role, playing my part and playing it well, being feminine, and I am the safe space in the relationship for you to be vulnerable, but you're still struggling with that, then I think that that's not, this is going to sound harsh, but it's like, it doesn't sound like that's a me problem. And it's like, I can't push a man. I can give him that permission, say, hey, I'm here and this and that, but it's ultimately up to the man's decision. And it's just like, and if it continues down that path of like, hey, I'm going to keep the wall up and be incredibly not vulnerable in every way, then that gives me information that I need to know for how I want to play my cards in a relationship as well, because women are emotional. We need that mental and emotional stimulation. And if you can't give me none, then it's just not conducive to my own role, right? Like it's true. So
Hey, but I would, if I can challenge that.
mm-hmm.
I think in situations like that, you may be creating this space that you feel is safe and vulnerable for you, but it may not be safe and vulnerable for him. And I think that's often one of the things that, you know, potentially men and women get wrong, is thinking that this space that I perceive as being safe, and in my mind, okay, this is safe. But to the person, it's like, well, that's safe for you. That's not safe for me. But I'll try, but it's still no, that push to truly understand what's safe for that other person.
Do you think it's because, and that's where I say, where it sounds harsh, it might be the other person's other problem, is because if they've had that weaponized against them in the past, are they bringing that into that other, whatever new relationship that may be? That's where I think that comes from, because personally, I've never had an issue with a man being vulnerable with me, especially the most, street dudes. If anything, it's like in the total opposite.
So you like chocolate?
I mean, I've never dated a white dude. That's a whole nother story ever. But that's where I think that comes into play, is that, okay, I see what you're saying. If I'm not making it a safe space and not playing my role well, then that would mean I'm delusional, right? But it's like, you got to take the time to evaluate So it's especially if it's like, if you're a couple, you should be working together, you should be solution focused. And I am the subject matter expert in this relationship, and I'm the second in command. You're over here going through it, deaths and all these things. Then, like I said, give that man permission to be vulnerable. If he doesn't want to walk through that door to be vulnerable, that's all I can do. That's all you can do, in my opinion, as a lady in her role as a partner. It's like, okay, I gave you that permission, but you're leading this relationship. So if that's how you want to play it, then okay. But many times I don't think that leads to a healthy, happy relationship, because then it'll just keep happening, right? The man will just keep dancing around that vulnerability, and I don't think that's healthy. So that's kind of how I perceive those types of situations.
So I think you have to know who you're dealing with and be patient enough to help them through the issues that you have. And a lot of people are not patient. We talked about that earlier. So I think you definitely have to know who you're dealing with. When you learn that early on in a situation, you'll know why they respond the way they respond, or why they're not as vulnerable as maybe someone else you dealt with in the past. People have issues, and it's not always you. It's not always the person that they're dealing with, but something that they dealt with in the past. So if you don't have the patience, it's probably not going to work. But if you're patient enough, I think you can thrive in a relationship. You'll make someone vulnerable eventually. It's possible.
Yeah, especially like for me, I always hear, Alice, you listen really well. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, yeah, I do. I listen really well. Like, whatever. Okay, that's fine.
People say that they listen. Interesting.
Yeah. I personally don't want to, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially drive by myself. Like, I could get rid of my car tomorrow. You could drive. Like, I'm cool. You know what I mean? Let me worry about the other stuff. You worry about the possums in the attic or the basement and all that. No, absolutely not.
Sean, what you got on this, bro? I'm just thinking about this whole vulnerability.
Man, I think I probably just said enough, bro. Like, for me, it's really like picking and choosing when you decide to be vulnerable. I don't feel like you could just be like all out, expressing your feelings and, what I'm saying, like to everything and everybody, and being like sensitive and stuff. Some things you have to hold on and, carry your own weight. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's times where I'm like, I'll just hold everything in and figure it out. Like I'm the type to absorb punches, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully I don't snap, you know what I mean? But it's like, okay, I'll take it. But I feel like men take the punches so everybody else could be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like we get dirty so the family could be happy. Like we're the sacrificial lamb in, everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just watching Napoleon and watching those guys go to war, and it was just crazy how men, back in the 1800s all lined up and just walked, towards bullets and got knocked down. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no strategy or being strategic. It was like, fuck it, we gonna shoot. Oh, we not, you know what I mean? Like we out, you know what I'm saying? So, I look at it just like in a different kind of way, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
like, huh?
No, I was gonna say to that point, because that is crazy that at one period it was like that. But think about even before that time when it was hand to hand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they was moving in droves, So I think that the fact that we don't that we aren't exposed to that as a whole, it especially in my opinion for women, the value, we're more so devalued. We're already devalued as a whole in society because, as you stated, in war we're literally sacrificial lambs. You know what I'm saying? That's what we are. But it is the value of each and every man should definitely be more appreciated, in my opinion, simply for that fact, because if it got to go down, we're expected to be there on the front line. But yeah, my bad. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, no, bro. That's real. At any and all times, So it's like I feel like we just, you just got to navigate life in a way where you just got to pick and choose. You know what I'm saying? Like, something's really bothering you, and you have to, let somebody know something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could let them know. I feel like being vulnerable is also letting somebody know how you feel. It's not always a sensitive thing. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, bro, chill out. Like, you doing too much. You know what I mean? Like, kick back. Hey, you're too loud. So there's levels to it, but I feel like you know what I'm saying? I really would hate for us to get to the point where, we're taking so many punches that it kind of like messes up our mental health. And that's like one of the parts where, as a man, even myself, where it's like, damn, man, we gotta, every time something go wrong, it's on me. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like learning how to take that and navigate that in a world where it's like they think that men and women are equal, you know what I'm saying? And, equality and all that stuff, because I feel like that's kind of damaging, what it takes to be a man, like men comparing themselves to women, women comparing themselves to men. But I look at it like this, like if I'm chilling in the house and you with me and we hear something, you're going to expect me to go out, period. You know what I'm saying? To put my life on the line. I'm supposed to open the door with the gun. Like, who's that? You stay back. I got you. You know what I'm saying? The tire breakdown, pop, I'm supposed to fix it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's in today's times, it is kind of funny style, I would say, but shit, I'll just be feeling like to each its own. You know what I mean? I have my own definition on how I rock, and I just hope that some people will learn from it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you gotta learn how to navigate in a fucking pool full of sharks out here.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Great discussion today, you guys. In our conversation today, we've uncovered the deep-seated reasons why many men choose to endure misery rather than show vulnerability. It's clear that societal expectations, fear of judgments, and misconstructed idea of strength all play significant roles in this struggle. However, we've also seen that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a pathway to deeper connections, emotional resilience, and true well-being. As we move forward, let's challenge these outdated notions, encouraging men to embrace their emotions and build a healthier, more authentic relationships. By fostering environments where vulnerability is valued, we can help break the cycle of silent suffering and pave the way for a more open and supportive society. With that being said, we bring this show to you. And hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we are out. Thank you.